Good morning. Israel's diamond industry is collapsing, and insiders there say it faces existential threats because of developments in the United States and in other global markets. The president of the Israel Diamond Exchange is complaining here that the United States has high tariffs on diamonds from Israel, but lifted the tariffs on diamonds coming from the European Union. Israeli exports of polished diamonds fell 36% year over year. The Israel-U.S. diamond trade is critical to Israel's economy. 8% of Israel's total exports across all industries and countries across the world are diamond exports to the United States. So the U.S. is the most important market for Israeli diamonds, and the loss of the market share in the American market means that the industry is threatened with extinction. This is Forbes, whose readership is mostly American. If you have a diamond or ever bought one, you are probably supporting U.S.-Israel trade, even though you probably didn't know it. Until 2016, Israel was a top supplier of American diamonds, at least 30% every year. But in 2016, India became the top importer of diamonds, with Israel dropping to number 2. Here we see the problem for the Israelis. Their number one customer for diamonds is the United States, and that market's going away. The sources of diamonds are not documented, so few buyers know where the diamonds are actually coming from. Forbes suggests that American buyers of diamonds are unaware they're buying from Israel at all, but that's just the half of it. The Israeli diamond industry contributes about $1 billion a year to the IDF. And every time someone buys a diamond from Israel, some of that money goes to the military. That's an Israeli economist saying that, by the way. One example is here that the head of Steinmetz Diamond Group has adopted a brigade in the IDF and buys equipment. Israel is not a producer itself of any uncut stones. The Israeli firms export low-cost rough diamonds, then do the cutting and branding, and then export the high value-added difference. In fact, none of the top 5 exporters of diamonds actually produce the gems, which are mainly sourced from Africa. So this industry globally is dependent on countries in Africa to dig up the uncut stones and moving them out and doing the high-end finishing elsewhere. How that tends to work for Israeli diamond companies is described here. International Diamond Industries got a monopoly on diamond production in the DRC in exchange for weapons and military training by the IDF. The company paid $20 million for the concession, which generates $600 million per year. In Sierra Leone, Steinmetz spent just $1.2 million to lock up half the company that produces 90% of all the diamonds there. In 1 year, the company produced $200 million worth. All these bribes and covert weapons transfers to African countries are for naught, though, given the changes in the diamond markets on the demand side, in the United States most of all. Per carat, Israel is earning fewer dollars than any time in recent memory. The blue line on this chart should be read as Israelis' producer price. Rough diamond prices are falling, which should be good news. But think of that red line as their top line number, the revenues received for polished stones. In just 2 years, raw materials costs fell 29%, but finished prices fell 39%. Israeli banks and investors are pulling out. Bank financing last year plummeted to $508 million, the lowest ever. A protracted decline in market activity means there is no business to finance. Diminished utilization and allocation. Israel's diamond trade is shrinking. This chart goes back 20 years, and we see the extreme outlier year of 2020, the COVID year when nobody was allowed to go shopping for rings. The industry bounced back, but at a lower level than before, and the downward trend is clear. The Israel Diamond Exchange is losing membership, and in the first 7 months of 2024, exports of polished stones dropped 33% year over year. In July, they were down by half. Amid Israel's war on Gaza, buyers stopped coming, and they eventually canceled the big International Diamond Week event. So India has taken the lead in the natural stone markets, while China is killing everyone with their monopolies on artificial diamonds. This chart goes back only a few years. In January 2020, lab-grown diamonds were less than 10% of diamond sales in the US, natural stones over 90%. By September of last year, they were almost at parity. The appeal is economic and obvious. In 2024, the size was 1.9 carats, 60% larger, but the price fell by 30% from 4 years previously. The shift is most notable among young people who want lower prices for diamonds and are indifferent whether they're natural stones or if they come from a lab. There are big problems here for the Israelis that probably won't go away. It is the younger generation of buyers that are turning away from natural diamonds in the first place. And it's also the younger generation that is far more likely to be persuaded by these campaigns to boycott diamond products from Israel. That generation understands, too, that this entire industry is based on little more than great marketing gimmicks. The campaign to convince the world that diamonds are precious stones may have been the most successful ever. From the very beginning of the South African diamond rush days, the guys who ran the cartels knew they had to limit the supply that hit markets to keep prices high. Later, they asked New York for help marketing the diamonds, and Diamonds Are Forever was born. In 1940, only one American woman in 10 got a diamond ring. 50 years later, it was 90%. Diamond sales in the United States rose 9,000% in that time. The Japanese believed it too. In 1967, just one woman in 20, and 15 years later was 60%. Another brilliant strategy was the idea to spend 2 months' salary on a ring. Men go into debt to buy inherently worthless stones. The natural diamond industry is dying, and fast. Eventually, the markets decide what the prices should be, and the markets say that the prices are going lower for diamonds used in jewelry, and all the advertising in the world can't stop it. The Israelis are no doubt making calls to get Trump to remove the tariffs on Israeli stones, which will just delay the inevitable. But there is another market for diamonds, for industrial applications. That market is booming, and it puts into sharp relief the moves by China in that artificial stones market. China just announced strong export bans on the technology and the equipment to make artificial stones, including the stones themselves. Those new regulations still allow their firms to supply American jewelry stores. But diamonds are becoming much more valuable as engineers develop more and more uses for them. And China's artificial diamond makers are incentivized, obviously, to discover new uses and new markets. Those diamonds aren't going anywhere except at factories down the street. So for all the diamonds used in modern manufacturing, in heavy industry, and especially in military industrial applications, and in all those products themselves, everything will be built in China. This is Fudan University, in Shanghai. Be good.
On this earth, the bosses and managers in our companies, the mayors and police in our towns, the governors and kings and presidents. We ask for a revival in this part of the world.